To Professor Mark Wise, I am Mike Morgan. And Mark, these are the kind of matchups we love in late February. So much on the line for Georgia today. The question becomes, how do the Dogs pull off the upset?
Mike, in league play, Missouri leads the SEC with almost 10 steals per game. Georgia has had turnover issues all season long. I'm going to be looking at turnovers, points off turnovers. Ball security is item number one for the home team.
This just in, just about everybody in the SEC has a really good resume. That's why our own Joe Lenardi right now has the league with 14 bids. That being said, still a little meat on the bone for Missouri if they want to feel really comfortable. And Georgia, as we mentioned, Mark, could desperately use a quad one win.
For Missouri, it's about winning your 8th SEC game. I've said all year that 8 and 10 will get you in. If the Tigers win today, they're a lock. For Georgia, if you're the last team in, how do you move north on the Lenardi ladder? Simple. You win at home because there are only a few opportunities down the stretch.
Mike White in his third year in Athens after a successful tenure in Gainesville, Florida. This may be his best team. For a while, they were nationally ranked. They were the talk of the town earlier in the month of January. Now they find themselves in a situation where they still have a lot of work to do, and you wonder, with a daunting schedule ahead, how many more chances will they have if they lose a game like this one at home? For the Missouri Tigers, you know the story. They were 0-19 last year in the SEC. What was going to turn it around? Well, yes, they had a good recruiting class, but the portal class was more important, including that man, number 25, Mark Mitchell from Duke, one of the top transfers in all of college basketball. These two teams have met 21 times. Missouri leads the all-time series 11-10. Dennis Gates, a NCAA tournament appearance in year number 1, and then last year, of course, the major step back. Now in year 3, Dennis Gates believes he's got his best squad and a team that can not only get to the tournament, but do plenty of damage once they get there.
And Mike, we've got a little bit of an odd situation to start the game. There was an administrative error with marking the starters, and it wasn't caught in time. Missouri has elected to put Mark Mitchell into the starting lineup, even though he wasn't listed as such. That will cost the Tigers an administrative technical. So we're going to start this game with a technical, one shot, and then we'll throw it up at midcourt.
I don't think I've ever seen this in a college game. I've seen it in a high school game when somebody has the books wrong. So what a way to start this off. I'm sure the crowd is sitting here wondering, how did we just start off the game with a free throw? Demery hits it, and it's 1-0 without a single second off the clock. A bizarre way to start it. Let's continue the madness. Let's get crazy here, Mark.
Just when you think you've seen it all.
You and I were scratching our head. Initially, it said Peyton Marshall would be the starter, the 7-foot freshman, but Mark Mitchell, who has been so good all year long, having an all-SEC type season, is indeed in the starting 5 for the black and gold. So with that, we can give you the correct Missouri starting 5. Tamar Bates, the veteran scorer, still back. Anthony Robinson having a much improved sophomore year for Missouri. And it's Robinson bringing it in the front court, and a whistle on Dakota LeFew, who's been banged up here of late. They're happy to have him back and healthy, the transfer from Mount St. Mary's.
Averaging almost 11 a game. He's been in double figures 13 times. He missed the game on the road at A&M midweek.
Bates will inbound it to Mizzou. Tigers coming in 21st in America, coming off a blowout performance on Wednesday night against the Oklahoma Sooners.
And Missouri's going to run a lot of 5 out. All 5 guys will be at the arc, and they look to isolate Mitchell.
Mitchell goes to work. Working on Godfrey, and the first turnover, a shot clock violation on the Tigers. How important is it, Mark Wise, for Georgia to get off to a good start in this ball game?
Well, again, you want everybody to get involved in terms of a home court, a home crowd, this Spike squad right behind us. You want them to get engaged early.
Student section packing it once again. It's become a very vocal crowd here at Stegman Coliseum. They lost a heartbreaker the last home game, 1 point to Mississippi State. That came down to a last-second turnover on Demery. 3 ball from the wing is off the mark, and here comes Mizzou.
That's the kind of shot that Georgia just has had a hard time knocking down this season from a consistent standpoint.
Baseline drive and kick sets up an open 3. Bates can shoot it well, and he sinks the first triple. 38% on the season. Missouri as a team, one of the best in the league at 37%.
Missouri's so good at drawing defenders.
Rise and fire baseline jumper is no good for LeFew. Bates finds Perkins. You got Mitchell on a post down low. That's a mismatch. Now Mitchell gets it outside. Shot clock under 10 for the Tigers. Here comes Robinson. Mitchell on a 3, and a weak side rebound by Bates, but he's out of bounds, stepped on the baseline. It will be Georgia basketball. It's a Georgia team under head coach Mike White that really believes they've still got some of their best basketball left. At times, as Mark mentioned, the turnovers have completely done them in. If they can clean that up, there's a lot of good with this Georgia squad.
Interesting that Missouri has opted to start the game defensively by going down with full court zone pressure.
Missouri mixes up their defenses as much as anybody in the league. Mitchell with a rejection. Return to sender on the first offering. The second one, though, R.J. Godfrey muscles his way in and banks it home. We're tied. Inside, in heavy traffic, and somehow splitting the double team, Trent Pierce.
I think we'll have a little bit of a tug of war on tempo today. Missouri likes to play a little bit faster.
How about Blue Kane with the strong take to the rack? Kane averaging just under 9 points per game. Missouri also has the leading candidate for 6th man of the year, Caleb Grill, ready to come off the bench, usually early around the 16-minute mark. Robinson probes the baseline, hangs and hits. Just a tough, strong move by the sophomore.
Interesting that early on, both teams' offenses, they're pretty good.
Already 12 points on the board. We played a little over 3 minutes. This is Newell, the freshman phenom, projected to be a lottery pick. To Godfrey, big to big. Godfrey carves out some space to the right-hand side, and another shot off the window and in.
Only had 4 points with 5 turnovers midweek against A&M, but before that, Godfrey had been in double figures 3 straight. A good start for the junior.
Tigers 3 for 4 from the field. Mitchell's been quiet. He'll take it strong. Rejected out of bounds off Godfrey. Nice block by the former Clemson Tiger out of Sewanee, Georgia. And there is the man I just alluded to, Caleb Grill. Caleb Grill shoots 49% from downtown. That's second in the country and number 1 in the SEC. He can hit them from everywhere. We asked Coach White who's going to draw the assignment. It's going to be a combination of guys. You cannot leave him alone. You can't go under screens. He's posting up Blue Kane. Grill kicks it out to Bates. Shot clock at 5 for Bates. And too strong on the 3 ball, but nobody grabbed the rebound for Georgia.
Long rebounds. The guards must get involved.
How about a third opportunity for Missouri? Gray left that one alive. And finally, Georgia corrals it. And that'll bring us to our first media timeout. Exciting opening stanza, 7-7 here at Stegman. Metrics are awfully good. Remember, they beat Kansas at a conference when Kansas was number 1 in America. The net of 19 wins both at home and on the road. And right now, Joe Lenardi has Mizzou as a number 6 seed.
This would be their 5th Quad 1 win. As a matter of fact, it's a Quad 1 win opportunity for both teams. But the number to keep in mind if you're a Missouri fan, 8. Because if you win today, that gets you your 8th SEC win. I've said all season 8-10 gets you in, so they will be a lock in my bracket tomorrow. Joe Lenardi, I hope you're listening.
I'm sure Joe very much values the Morgan Wise Index. Not nearly as popular and not nearly as many emails as Joe likes to send us. But yeah, I think most people would concur an 8-4 Missouri team would be a virtual lock and a chance to really get a high seed as well. That is Georgia's weakness and kryptonite all year long. Unforced turnovers leading very often to buckets on the other end.
You're going to have to work really hard against Missouri just to get open.
Yes.
They're not going to let you stand in one place and be a receiver.
And every pass has to be precise. This guy's precise when he shoots it. Grill that time missed it. Josh Gray hustled for the rebound, but then threw it away.
See, I like Georgia pushing it. You may get a better look in transition.
Demery, be an awful big luxury if they could get Silas Demery going, the sophomore, averaging just under 12 points a game.
Yeah, he's been really good in their last two, averaging 21. As a matter of fact, against A&M, now they didn't have LeFew in the game, but he played all 40 minutes.
Bates responds with a triple on the other end.
You and I were in Como on Wednesday. Bates had 2 points.
Yeah.
You know that's not sitting well with
No,
him.
he was a scoring machine last year. This year he's deferred a little bit because they have so many more weapons. But any given night, he can give you 25. Bump foul. And a rare time we've mentioned Asa Newell's name so far in this first half, but it's worth mentioning again. He's a 6'11 freshman, a projected lottery pick. Mike White told us you could not ask for a better guy to coach. Everything about his attitude, his demeanor, his work ethic, absolutely top-notch for a young man who knows his name is going to be called early in the upcoming NBA draft.
Missouri likes to trap in the corner.
Kane up top, hounded by Bates. Kane finds Newell inside, little left-handed hook shot. Nice touch by Asa Newell.
One of the things that impresses me about Newell, he catches all kinds of passes. Strikes, balls,
yeah.
He catches them all.
Gray, the 7-footer, finds Grill off a curl, and that's money in the bank. Caleb Grill, one of the things we talked about with Mike White, he's not just a spot-up shooter. He's perpetual motion and knows how to get open for a shot.
Yeah, he's almost the definition of move without the ball.
Georgia, a miss, but an offensive rebound for Newell.
Yeah, Newell is a really good offensive rebounder. He relies on his quickness and his ability to bounce quick.
Kane took it in on the 7-footer. Gray pops out. Demery on a three, too strong. Another offensive rebound by Montgomery. And that out of bounds off of Anthony Robinson.
Watch 31 in black. Caleb Grill move without the ball. The play is designed to get him. He's at the top part. He's got the ball. Watch him now. He's looking. He moves without the ball. He gets the screen from Gray, and that's money. That's absolute money when Caleb Grill shoots the three ball.
He doesn't need to be wide open. You give him an inch, and he can get his shot off. He worked so hard on that. You see he's breathing heavy. That's not because he's just parked behind the three-point line. It's because he's moving to get open. I love the comparison Mike White gave us. He said, you know, he reminds me a little bit of a guy I played with, Keith Carter.
Right.
The Ole Miss star, who was a great shooter and awfully athletic as well. He's now, of course, the AD in Oxford. There's a muscle play by Surreal. There's another guy they need to play big.
That was good execution offensively by Georgia to beat the double team.
6'11", 260-pound freshman. Look at Caleb Grill cutting of the basket and getting two more.
I think Grill has evolved into a much better, more complete, well-rounded basketball player. He's playing, in my view, the best basketball of his career.
Father Chris Grill still coaching his younger brother Alec over there at Mays High School in Wichita, Kansas. Blue Kane on a runner. Athletic move by Blue Kane, the sophomore from Knoxville.
Dare I say this, Mike? First team to 80 wins?
You know we're all for that.
Yes.
Give us some offense here. And a rough and rugged SEC league that is so physical. Gray gets it inside, pounding in. Speaking of physical, no whistle. And absolutely no whistle. And I'm with you. I thought for sure there was going to be a foul called as Surreal absorbed the contact and took what looked to be a possible charge.
We talk about Caleb Grill and his ability to spot up at the arc. Well, if that's taken away, the defender is trailing him. So he just curls all the way to the rim. That's a nifty little pass. And Grill shows you he's more than just a three-point shooter.
Caleb Grill has had several big baskets this season. One of his best baskets was a backdoor cut two to upset the Gators on the road. There's a play off the inbounds. And speaking of guys who have been hot of late, Jacob Cruz, averaging 9 points a game over the last 4 contests.
Yeah, LaFew got caught being a little bit late on the out under. Oh, here's a zone. We talked about Missouri being the team in the league that is more willing to change their defenses than anybody else.
And there's a foul on the alley-oop attempt to Surreal. 17-15. Great start here in Athens, Georgia. Both #1 seeds.
Yeah, and in that reveal today, I think Texas A&M kind of surprised. I'm talking about the selection committee did a top 16 reveal today. Texas A&M was actually 6th. So the SEC had 6 of the top 12 seeds in the NCAA tournament. I don't care how you slice the pie. It all tastes great if you're an SEC fan this year.
Yeah, it's kind of like pick your accolade. How about the potential of 3 out of 4 #1 seeds? How about dominating the 1 and 2 seed line, depending on how things finish out? It promises to be a historical selection Sunday for this league. And of course, Georgia wants to be a part of that party. They've actually moved up a spot. Talk about being fluid. They were the last team in coming into today's action. Now they're the second to last team in. That being said, if they really want to feel better about things, win this game today against a top 25 Mizzou team.
I need to know what's your over-under on the number of Lunardi emails today.
I think we're already at about 5, and we're not even in the evening hours yet. Joe working overtime, the steam just coming out of his ears in the bunker. It's a 1-point game, under 12 minutes to go, first half. These two teams met in the SEC tournament a year ago, as Georgia putting an end to Missouri's season with a victory in Nashville.
Well, they ran a play for Mitchell on the weak side. Trent Pierce just did not see him. He was wide open on the block.
Getting this lined up for Grill to trigger it in for Missouri. Into Mitchell. They play back on Mitchell, who loves that paint. Drives, dishes, sets up a 3. No, but there for the rebound is Cruz. No box out.
Oh!
And then a foul. It would have been a highlight block, but it looked like Surreal got some body along with the pumpkin.
Take another look. Second shot opportunity by Cruz on the weak side. And out of nowhere, Santos Surreal, and guess what? That's a foul.
That's a foul.
That's a foul. May not get called all the time, but that's an obvious foul.
Yes.
Good call. But if you're a big, that's where you should take your foul.
Well, yeah.
Protecting your rim
Absolutely.
and get your money's worth.
Jacob Cruz, a transfer from UT Martin at the free throw line, knocks down the first to make it a 2-point lead. Missouri has made, this is one of my favorite stats. It reminds me of the Bobby Knight Indiana teams that routinely did this. Mizzou has made more free throws than their opponents have attempted all year long, Mark. That's a recipe for victory.
Yeah, they shoot in league play 26 free throw attempts per. That's second. Only Alabama shoots more, and that's one of my keys to the game later today with Auburn and Alabama. I'm looking at three-point differential and free throw attempt differential. Auburn doesn't have to win them both, but they cannot lose them both.
Cruz aggressive on the step-in 3. Georgia trying to get it back going on offense. They had a good rhythm just a couple of minutes ago. Newell is out of this game right now. We'll see where they turn for offense.
Missouri is such a big help team. Look at all five black jerseys. When the ball is on one side of the floor or the other, they really load in.
Demery with a highlight deep 2 on a step back.
Analytics would tell you not to shoot that
Right.
shot, but when it goes in,
You'll take the 2. Grill was trying to get the 3. Right now, Missouri is winning the battle on the offensive glass. Several offensive rebounds already for the Tigers.
yeah, I'm looking at Dakota LeFew. I'm looking at Montgomery. They're standing out by the free throw line. When you're playing Missouri, and for that matter, anybody in this league as physical as everybody is on the glass, man, it's got to be all 5 of you. There can't be anybody taking a play off. Missouri already with 6 on the offensive glass.
It's a half a dozen offensive rebounds now for the Tigers, and that's concerning if you're Georgia. You cannot give this team too many second looks.
Mismatch.
Mitchell backing in on the much smaller LeFew. Missouri getting in the paint at will at this point. Grill on a deep 3, rims off, and flying in for the board is Newell. Demery, 6'5" sophomore, I think a junior, no, sophomore out of Raleigh. And then a turnover. And stepping on the baseline was Mizzou, so it will remain Georgia basketball.
But that's a play you've got to call that foul. Newell is catching that ball at the rim, and Grill came from the weak side and just kind of raked his arms.
Demery having trouble getting it in and has to burn a timeout with 9:49 to play and Georgia down by a point.
Special teams situations come into play when you play Missouri, Auburn, and others. You must be crisp in your out under in terms of getting the ball inbounds.
Another massive Saturday in SEC action. We mentioned the Auburn-Alabama game. Obviously, that's the headliner. Game day at Coleman Coliseum today, and that'll feature the top 2 teams in the country. How about Florida? Michael Handlogden has decided he's coming back. The 7-footer, so while Condon is resting that ankle, they'll have the services of Handlogden.
There's a big matchup today in Oxford between 19 Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State won round 1 in that rivalry, but they meet again today in Oxford.
Some of the headlines around the SEC, we mentioned the top 2, and then Joe Lunardi with 14 teams in. Every time you see that, it's like, well, that can't be right. And then you're like, oh, no, wait a minute, that is right. Look at the resumes, and it obviously speaks for itself. Georgia again has a tough time inbounding it. Into Newell, to Demery, and back up top with the shot clock down to 7. Nice pass! Threading the needle was Montgomery, and there's Newell on the slam.
That's that old possession play. Have about 4 near turnovers and get a flush at the end.
Burn a timeout. Robinson up top to Allen. Mitchell's been quiet. They'll live with that, but they won't live with another offensive rebound. This time it's Gray just playing some bully ball down low.
And that time I like the no call. Gray was making his offensive move. Wasn't enough there. Again, Missouri back to this 2-3, what we used to call the old Syracuse zone. It's got high wings. Well, those are the kind of plays you just cannot have.
Just a lazy pass. Grill gets the steal, and there's Mitchell on the 2-hand flush. How do you want to see Georgia handle this better against that defensive look?
You've got to have somebody occupying the free throw line at all times. And then on your passes, you must sometimes fake a pass to make a pass. See how high the wings are.
Demery. 3 ball off the mark. That's a foul down low. That's going to go against Mitchell of Mizzou.
We talk about the multi-talented Asa Newell. After the drive, gets the ball hopping, almost a turnover, and really ends up with the ball back in his hands. So it was almost like Newell around the horn, back to Newell.
They will now give the foul to Josh Gray, who goes to the bench for Missouri. Again, Missouri, so much depth. Josh Gray has 2 fouls, but that's okay. They've got plenty of big bodies, and of course their leading body, and Mark Mitchell, number 25 in black. Another bad inbounds pass leads to a turnover to Robinson.
Too much air.
Bates on a 3 and makes them pay on the other end. And now if you're Georgia, clean this thing up quickly. The lead swells to 6 for Mizzou.
2 quick turnovers, 5 points off turnovers.
That's a settle, a deep 3 by LeFew. You can get that shot anytime you want. Bates directing traffic. High ball screen by Mitchell. Here's Allen spinning and turning it over. Great D by LeFew that time. A scrum, a jump ball, and it will belong to the Dogs. 7:39 to go. It's Mizzou 26 and Georgia 20.
Bates, who only had 2 points midweek in the Oklahoma game, has already gotten off to a hot start. As a matter of fact, how hot? He's already made 3 balls, and this is the 8th time this season that Bates has made 3 or more in a game. And when you talk about big-time performers in the bigger games, he had 29 against Kansas, 26 against Ole Miss, 22 against Tennessee. That 3-point differential right now, the difference in the game.
So is the turnovers, which have plagued Georgia all year long, and 3 here of late that have helped the way for this Missouri 7-0 run. And what a luxury it is to have Tamar Bates. 9 points. He's led the team in scoring 4 out of the last 6 games. But as you mentioned, they blow out Oklahoma the other night. He's not much of a scoring factor. They don't need him to be. So on any given night, there's 3 or 4 Missouri Tigers that can lead the way in scoring.
And I like this move because until Georgia gets better against the zone, why not stay in it?
Absolutely. So Georgia can dissect it a little bit better here.
See if they can get the ball into 10. Godfrey in the middle. Or see if Newell maybe flashes. There's the soft spot. Good things should happen now.
And they do. Good call, Coach. R.J. Godfrey gets it in the soft spot and then converts. Baseline, Euro step, pops out of there, and ripping down the rebound is Asa Newell.
Georgia got lucky. They had no idea who was supposed to guard Allen in transition.
Newell inside, soft feathery touch by the big man, and Georgia cuts it to 2.
So now the coaching chess match starts going on because Georgia's had 2 straight possessions, good possessions against the zone. Now does Mizzou get out of it?
All of a sudden, Missouri getting chilly from outside. Georgia with a chance to tie it or even take the lead with a 3 as Kane brings it up to front court, harassed by Marquez Warwick.
And as I suspected, back to man-to-man. I'm not sure that's the shot you want.
That would definitely be a settle, and that'll be another rebound for Mitchell. Warwick loads up the triple. That one down and out.
He can make those in bunches, 44% on the year. A guy who over his career has over 2,400 points.
Scoring machine before transferring over.
And he's a Henry Clay Blue Devil.
Yes.
I got to talk to him about that Wednesday because let's just say our graduation dates are a few years apart, but I went to Scott County, and he, of course, went, oh, I don't like them at all.
He played for Northern Kentucky and Darren Horn. Darren Horn, of course, spent some time in the SEC as the head coach at South Carolina.
Mixing the defenses, in and out of zone, this time back in it.
Georgia has not hit a 3 as of yet, 0 for 5. Newell's got to fire it up. Newell at the buzzer, hits it! Great shot by Asa Newell with the shot clock winding down. Perkins with 10. Bates up top under 5. Bates measures, tosses to Perkins on a late 3. Back-to-back buzzer beaters.
Oh my goodness.
And that silences the crowd and puts an end to a 6-0 Georgia run.
Players on both ends stepping up late in shot clock situations.
Been a well-played first half by both sides. 3 ball, Georgia. All of a sudden now the Dogs have a 3, the first one. And it ties it up at 29. Perkins feeling it. Rims off, tapped around by Gray, and finally into the hands of Godfrey. Demery into front court, whips it into the corner to Kane. Kane catching fire, 3! Back-to-back triples for the Dogs, who now have a 3-point lead. Timeout Missouri with 4:05 to play.
One of the staples at the next level is look early and look opposite. The NBA has been doing this for years. Watch as the ball comes up on the right side. It's the quick early opposite pass. Blue Cane, raise those Blue Canes. You know another guy in that argument?
Who's that?
Pettiford. And they're going to play each other today.
100% agree. A quick whistle.
It's almost like Blue Cane's going, wait a minute now, we've been banging each other for the first 16 minutes plus.
That's only the 4th team foul. Each team with 4 team fouls. It's not due to a lack of physicality, that's for sure.
You're saying they're not playing softer?
They are not playing soft. What they are doing is letting them play, as it is definitely a physical contest here at Stegman Coliseum. Here is the aforementioned Grill. Over to Bates. Gray. Shot clock violation, just lack of awareness by Josh Gray that time.
Second one that Georgia's been able to induce. There's a couple of things that Georgia's done well. They've neutralized Mark Mitchell. He has not been a factor in this game. And the second thing, other than that 1-minute spurt where they had 2 turnovers that led to 5 points off turnovers, they've eliminated those kinds of mistakes.
Now the Mitchell box score to this point, 1 of 4, just 2 points. That's been beyond surprising, as well as he has played of late. Demery feeds the post inside Surreal, and Surreal coughed it up and then commits a foul.
This is Grill getting dirty, putting his grill back into play. The ball goes into Surreal. Watch 31 in black with the swipe. And then a little clip in the back, if you will.
That's all ball for Caleb Grill. Again, I think very often when you see a guy like Caleb Grill who has such a pretty shot, and it is pretty, and you see the numbers, you think, well, maybe he's just a spot-up shooter, kind of a role player. Right. That's not all in Caleb Grill's game. He's a lot more multifaceted than just that. Approaching 3 minutes to go in half number 1. A step back, that's a deep two. A deep 2 that goes down for Missouri and Trent Pierce.
Pierce, who's been in a mini slump, has just 2 points in the last 3 Tiger games. At some point in time, Demery's got to make some of these. These are pretty good looks.
Offensive rebound leads to a finger roll, and that is Justin Abson, the transfer from Appalachian State. They don't get a whole lot of points out of Abson. He's in there mainly for defense. Speaking of which, trying to affect the play here, Robinson. No, Gray, yes, and an and 1. Josh Gray with that big 7-foot, 300-pound frame gets a chance at 3 the hard way.
I thought Robinson got fouled on the first attempt, but Gray was inside position to mop up for the Tigers. Now this is an adventure with Gray, just 50% on the free ones.
Gray has stamped his SEC passport 3 different times LSU, South Carolina, and now Missouri. The officials were saying 2 free throws. Did I miss something?
Yeah, it's just one shot, yeah.
They have fixed it. It is 1 free throw and 1 only.
After the way the game started, though, it makes me a little nervous.
I know, right? Now, you and I saw this before. Josh Gray has a hitch in his free throw attempt.
Yep.
This worked 3 different times against Oklahoma where he missed it, but got a reprieve because of lane violations. It's almost like a pump fake when he shoots it.
It's the Harlem Globetrotter trick with the string on the basketball.
So the second attempt. And that time it comes out clean and nothing but net.
I thought he did that all 3 times in the midweek game that we had. He made the extra one.
Every time. He missed it.
Yeah, he found his rhythm.
The first one is just a warm-up. A breakfast ball, if you will. Tie game. 8 ties, 8 lead changes in this first half. Look at Grill, another steal, and draws another foul.
That pass is just not there. Abson makes an ill-advised pass into traffic. The idea was for a little Princeton backdoor cut, but it was covered.
And that is the 7th team foul, so rare free throws upcoming for Caleb Grill, who shoots 79% on the year. We've got another women's basketball triple header tomorrow right here on the SEC Network. It all starts with number 15, Tennessee, hosting Ole Miss. That'll be in Knoxville at noon Eastern time. Grill tickles the twine on a pair, and Missouri has a 2-point lead with 2:05 to go. Will Georgia's turnovers do them in again? That has been what has propelled Missouri multiple times to runs in this first half.
5 Georgia turnovers, but 9 Tiger points off turnovers.
See if Georgia can settle down, get a good shot here. When in doubt, go to the freshman Newell. Newell, pass into the corner. Demery on a 3, missed it, but a foul against Missouri. Is that on the shot or away from the ball? I could not tell who they...
I think it's on the shot. I think this is going to be a 3-shot foul. Grill with the closeout at the wrong angle. You've heard me talk about this for the last month. It seems like defenders are always taking the wrong angle. They may take a look to see if this was a 3.
And we'll take another look at it as well. We are on the opposite side, a little bit shielded, could not see the contact from here.
There were reviews in reference to whether it was a 2-point attempt or a 3-point attempt.
But Mark, you and I've talked about this all season long. The propensity of guys fouling 3-point shooters, you just don't need it.
Well, they called it a 3, and I don't think you're going to be able to overturn it off
The call on the floor of a 3-point attempt for 5 White has been confirmed.
Yeah, he's clearly behind the line. That one's not even close.
And I wanted to give a shout out to PB Burdette, who was one of our officials who kind of navigated me through the start that we had today.
And we needed that.
With the wrong starter in the lineup for Missouri, and we started this game with an administrative technical foul.
Yeah, it was 1-0 Georgia before a second came off the clock. It was almost like in a baseball game where you have a guy batting out of order. You rarely see it, but that's how this game started.
Demery solid at the line, 83% on the year.
Last year named to the SEC All-Freshman team. That one barely drew iron.
You know what I really like about players, and I'm talking about Demery, in his last 2 games, he's averaged 4.5 rebounds. He's had 11 assists and 4 turnovers. So that's impacting the game in more ways than just scoring.
I'm going to give you something else to like about Demery. Checking out Georgia practice today, and their sports information director is one of the best in the business. Mike Mobley told us that when he had the play, remember against Mississippi State, a chance to win the game late, he dribbled it off his foot. It was his only turnover of the game. A lot of players would have shied away from the post-game press conference. He told the SID, no, I'll wear it.
Yeah.
I'll take the podium, and I'll address the questions. That's incredible maturity and leadership for just a sophomore. I know you wouldn't do that, Mark. You would have ran and hid your locker.
I might have talked to them, but I would have blamed you somehow.
What else is new? Coming up on 90 seconds. 36 all our score. Grill, look out. That time hand in his face, but he tracks down the long rebound. Lack of a box out gives Missouri another chance. Pierce on a hard take. Blocked by Newell. Another chance for Mizzou. A three ball from the corner rims off. Another chance for Mizzou. Fourth attempt. No. Gray gets it back. They'll have a fifth attempt at it. Cruz.
Yeah, that's
and
the
a
right
block
call.
Foul on Demery.
It's a late whistle, but it's the right call. Just blow the whistle when the contact happened. Mike White does not approve. I'm in the minority in terms of fouling. I think we need more fouls in our game. It's the only way we're going to clean up the physicality that we currently have in our game.
Cruz, 73% on the year. Jacob Cruz, a welcome addition from UT Martin, originally out of Hilliard, Florida, 6'8" senior. And he's really heated up. Missouri, there's so many good teams in this league. I would say Missouri's depth is right there at the top. And calmly splashes a pair to put the Tigers back in front by a deuce with 1 minute left to play in the first half.
Colleges do not do a lot of this, but I was just about to say Missouri has a foul to give. I'm not sure that's the one that Dennis Gates would have liked to have given, but is this game, let me ask you this, Mike, is this game in February or March? Because it feels like March to me.
Everything about it. That's what we love about this time of year. You start getting that March feel. Newell! Tomahawk slam plus the damage. He'll go to the line for a three-point opportunity.
This play was done by Demery at the outset because he beats his man. When he does that, now the big has to come over and help. The cover down is not there. That's an easy catch and finish, all set up by the quickness, the explosiveness of Silas Demery.
Asa Newell, who grew up in Athens. Grandmother used to work for the University of Georgia. He basically used to go to daycare in the shadows of Stegman Coliseum. Participated in all kinds of activities. He and his brother Jaden Newell also on the team. They would swim, they play piano, but basketball clearly the first love for Asa Newell.
Let's see if Mizzou goes 2 for 1.
Rejected by Newell. They'll say goaltend. The trail official says it was on the way down.
Well, they're going to review it.
Right.
But this certainly looked like it was on the way up. And the problem I have with this, and the officials are within their right, that's going to be
that's going to be overturned, yeah.
But we're officiating the replay and not the play on the floor.
And again, if it's close, very often they will call it, because if you don't, you can't review it. So it puts the onus on the official to, if there's a gray area, to call for the goaltend.
Isolation again with Demery. See if he can beat Grill off the bounce.
Baseline drive and kick to Kane. Kane passed it up. Kane instead driving, throws it up and in. A running hook shot. Final 10 seconds of the half with Georgia up by a point. Grill off a curl, missed it. Rebound off the mark, and that's how the first half comes to a close. It was so loud in here you couldn't tell if a whistle was blown. 10 ties, 12 lead changes. What an entertaining first 20 minutes here at Stegman. The only thing that could possibly be more entertaining, the gang in studio, which is where we send it right now.
41.3 is under further review.
Entertaining first half here at Stegman Coliseum. The Georgia Bulldogs in need of an upset, leading it 41-38 as we welcome you back inside. He is Professor Mark Wise. I am Mike Morgan. The question becomes, Mark, with Missouri doing a lot of things right, winning the battle on the offensive glass. Caleb Grill heating up. How is Georgia leading in this game?
In league play, Georgia averages more than 13 turnovers per, only 5 in the first half.
And Georgia certainly providing some of their best performances with their freshman Asa Newell, who gives us our big flex play, brought to you by Southwest Airlines.
Asa Newell has been perfect, 5 for 5 from the field, scores in a variety of ways around the basket, and oh yeah, he gives us a big Southwest flex.
Newell has been flexing all year. In fact, how about this? Division I freshmen leading their team in points and rebounds. There's only 2. Cooper Flagg of Duke and Asa Newell of Georgia. And if you know a thing or two about Montverde Academy, and I know you do, Mark Wise,
Yeah.
You know that they are yearly one of the most talented high school programs. And yes, both those guys were teammates for Montverde.
Give me that group, and I'll coach against any team you want to play.
Any group of high scorers, right? That type of coaching prowess that separates you from the pack. Yes. Georgia up by 3. That goaltend was reversed, by the way, so the score you see is correct. It's a 3-point game. Georgia on top as Missouri gets another paint touch, which sets up another 3 and another make for Trent Pierce.
Again, Pierce, 31% from beyond the arc, has been in double figures 7 times. Hasn't really shot the ball that well in SEC play, but now he's made 2 from bonus land.
Well, we're right back to another tie, and we've had several ties and lead changes already in this game. Kane lobs it up to Godfrey. Godfrey takes it right in on Mitchell. Towers colliding, and the better half that time was the former Clemson Tiger.
One of the things that Georgia's done a good job of, they're not getting caught on the switch trying to guard Mark Mitchell. Now here's the isolation.
Mitchell on Godfrey, says, I got 2 for you, big guy. Right back returns the favor.
Mitchell gets both feet in the paint. That play's over. You must meet him with more physicality outside the paint.
So strong, so versatile, so good. Mark Mitchell, number 25 in black. Pass down low. Newell continues his perfect night in the office. He's now 6 for 6 with 13 points. Mitchell, pump fake on a 3, finds Perkins, and this time Mitchell will take it. He had all day. He spots it up and drills it.
Just a 23% shooter from deep. That's his 10th made 3 of the year. I got to believe that Georgia can live with that.
What a pickup in the portal to get Mark Mitchell out of Duke.
How about Newell with a little guard skills?
Booker guarded by Mitchell. Trying to lob it into Newell. Newell mismatch, and that one was just too much for the much smaller Anthony Robinson. Mouse in the house for Newell.
How about the crafty little pass by Godfrey, though? Big to big.
Dogs have made their last 6 shots now, and Missouri not to be outdone. Anthony Robinson with the mid-range.
The fun part for me in this game is both offenses are on point.
A dozen ties, a dozen lead changes.
Nobody has missed a shot in the second half. Well,
that's going to be a hold foul on Missouri on Tony Perkins.
After the switch against Newell, watch this pass by Godfrey. High-low action. The lob is over. Robinson is trying to front. He just cannot get on that floor. That's a floor that Newell lives on and very few others do.
Speaking of floor, this is our first trip to Stegman this year. They've got the new hardwood. Kind of digging the look here.
Yeah.
So you got the new floor, you got the student section rocking it night in, night out. This is not the Stegman I remember from a few years ago. Really great environment here today in Athens and really throughout this season for Mike White's club.
Same thing, high-low.
And again, no, that time Newell missed it. A little too much English off the window. Georgia snaps a 6 consecutive field goal make streak. And Missouri will try and make them pay on the other end. Robinson with the pump fake, dipsy-do, and a beautiful take by Anthony Robinson. The fastly improved sophomore out of Tallahassee, Florida.
I like the ball fake instead of putting the ball on the deck and going back and forth off the bounce.
Demery, great move, but off the back iron. Missouri up 3 and looking for more. And that's a reach-in foul on R.J. Godfrey.
Anthony Robinson averaging more than 9 points a game this year. Had 10 against Oklahoma. It was the ball fake. No rotation defensively. That's an easy deuce. And right now, Mike, I feel like coming out of the locker room, Missouri is getting their shots easier than Georgia's getting theirs.
One thing about Missouri, seemingly every possession, they get a paint touch. Now, the shot doesn't always go off from the paint, but with that paint touch, sets up open shooters outside as well.
You and I had the game Wednesday night when Mark Mitchell went to the free throw line 18 times. That's the most by a Missouri player in over 10 seasons.
They had no answer for 25 and black. Georgia bottled them up well in the first half, but you do not want to see him ignite if you're a Georgia fan. Newell banging bodies with Mitchell down low. Godfrey takes it strong. No. Newell had the rebound. Contact. No call. Missouri clears it. And now Missouri might have numbers on the other end. This is Bates. Parting of the Red Sea, and Bates off his pogo stick slams it home.
I just love look early, look opposite. That makes the defense rotate quicker than they want to.
And a foul on Missouri, but the highlight of the second half comes courtesy of Tamar Bates on a 7-0 run.
Coming right at you after that early and opposite look offensively. Missouri on top in the second half.
Really, it begins and ends with the rest of a daunting schedule.
Well, again, the Bulldogs, who have a bye after this game, they don't play midweek. They go to Auburn next Saturday and then get Florida back at home. Now, on paper, if you're looking at this and you would go, okay, at Texas, at South Carolina, Vanderbilt at home, possible wins. They've got to get to 7 league wins just to be in the conversation. 8 would get you in as you take a look. No hiccups in their quad 2, 3, 4 whatsoever in terms of evaluating Mike White and his team's resume.
With this game against another ranked opponent, Georgia has played more ranked opponents than any team in college basketball, over 350 of them. That said, it can't just be strength of schedule. You've got to win some of those tough matchups, and that's why this game is so very important with a quad 1 opportunity on the line. Anything you want to see out of Georgia offensively to differ than what we've seen so far in this second half?
No, they've gotten a lot of mileage out of the high-low look, but you've got to be careful throwing it back to the top of the key. That's got pick 6 written all over it. Georgia's still only with 5 turnovers in the game. So they've checked that box, but the three-point differential is too great right now to overcome. They're minus 15 in three-point differential. They've only made 2. Missouri's made 7.
Instant offense. Caleb Grill comes into the game for Mizzou. He had 7 in the first half. Shot clock was ticking down, so Surreal had to fire that one up. Not sure if that was option A off the out-of-bounds play. Perkins lobbing it down low to Gray. Hounded by Surreal. Gray just threw it up. I don't know if he even saw the rim when he tossed it up, but it goes down.
And that's where I think you have to take your foul. If you're Georgia, Gray just 50% on the free ones.
Surreal with the answer on the other end. Georgia effective on the offensive side, but Missouri has hit its first 7 shots of the second half. Kickball, Mizzou retains possession.
Mike, you and I have had Missouri multiple times this season, and we're of the same ilk, I believe. This is a dangerous team.
Very.
I like this team. I think Dennis Gates' team could easily play into the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Right there with you. There's a lot to like, and there's very few weaknesses that you can really find. Like, where do you poke a hole in this Missouri team? They do everything well, and they're very deep.
Well,
nice pass to Newell.
What a great job by Newell, though, to present himself in the open area. That's basketball IQ.
Three ball from the corner by Demery.
You can thank Asa Newell for that pressure release, which led to the Demery three.
Basketball IQ off the charts for the freshman. Back to a three-point game. Grill off a curl. Grill fouled on the three, and almost a four-point opportunity. So good at finding space to get off the shot.
Here's Newell after he comes and presents himself offensively, and then that's a wide open three. Did you notice the time that Demery had to roll the ball in his hands?
Yeah.
To feel the seams and get right?
Caleb Grill back to the free throw line for the second time today. Fouled on a three-point shot. Tomorrow morning, our Shriners Children's Clearwater Softball Invitational coverage continues with Charlotte squaring off against number 7, Texas A&M. Croissants, bacon, orange juice, and some softball. Why not? Now, Blue Kane, who committed that last foul on Grill, goes to the bench. Caleb Grill, who plans on being a coach someday, just like his pops back in Wichita, Kansas, his hometown.
Grill now in double figures, and the numbers tell us what, Mike Morgan, about Grill being in double figures for Missouri.
Yeah, they're undefeated when he gets at least 15 points on the season. And very often double digits, you can chalk it up as a win. Demery steps into another three. Newell fights for the rebound, takes it on Gray! Tomahawk plus the foul!
Asa Newell is one of those offensive rebounders. He never takes the picture. He's always in the picture. Quick jump, not only for the first time to gather the ball, but the second time with the baby flush inside. Fun to watch, and you can see why he's on most everyone's lottery list.
And he's only going to get bigger, stronger. You and I started hearing about Asa Newell a year ago or 2 years ago with Jaden Newell already on the roster, and all we kept hearing about was wait till you see his brother. And he arrived on campus, and right away people knew it's going to be a special talent. Fighting for the offensive rebound, they say off Montgomery last.
I'd be curious to look at that again. I thought, and Montgomery did as well. Take another look. Who did this go off of? We'll get to it.
Tigers up by 4 with the basketball. Robinson waiting for something to open up. Nothing there. Josh Gray for a deep 2. That was online. Caleb Grill got the offensive rebound. Bodies splashing all over the place. And finally, Georgia comes away with it.
It is Darwinism right now on the glass.
My goodness. Newell inside. Instead, they go outside, an open look, but a 3-ball miss by LeFew. Streaking, leading the way. There's Mitchell on the break. And Missouri extends the lead to 6.
That's a potential 5-6 point swing because LeFew missed a wide open 3.
Look at that pass by Mitchell to Grill. And a timeout called by Georgia. Largest lead for Missouri, an 8-point advantage with 12:29 to play. A really special looking future lottery pick.
And we would be remiss if we didn't mention that Boogie Clam would definitely be on that list, but because he's injured and out for the season. he was averaging 15 per before he got hurt for the Hawks.
Yeah, it's even more painful since Arkansas finally has gotten it going here of late, where they're in the NCAA tournament conversation. They've still got work to do, as does this Georgia team. They're on the right side of the bubble today, but a home loss and a tough pass by Montgomery leads to an easy deuce. The kind of mistake you simply cannot have against Missouri.
You just have to be more careful with the basketball. That's an unforced turnover. Yes, Missouri's pressuring you, but so does every other team you play.
Largest lead now for Mizzou. Gut check time for Georgia, down by 8.
That's the play that they worked on all day during shoot-around today. That's a quality look.
And out of bounds to Missouri.
We talked about the turnovers, the points off turnovers, the quick hands of Anthony Robinson. Mizzou on the road now with 13 points off turnovers.
Trying to rise the spirits of Georgia right now. The Bulldogs are on the wrong end of a 16-7 run by Missouri. It's now a 10-point lead. You see the importance of this game. You could say Missouri's playing with some house money, but if they pick up a road win here, a quad one win against the Georgia Bulldogs, they're in.
Lock. Forget about it. They're in.
Take the mystery out of it. Georgia's not in the same enviable situation. A game like this is uber important if they're going to get over the hump for the resume, and you consider what it looks like and what the Lenardi SEC bubble looks like. You've got Oklahoma, you got Texas. I think Vandy's in really good shape. They'll lock horns with Vandy here in the regular season finale. You and I will have that one.
Right.
And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, Arkansas is starting to pick up steam.
Oklahoma and Texas both play at home tonight. Oklahoma against LSU, Texas against Kentucky. I think that's a must-win for Oklahoma. They only have 3 league wins right now. Texas has a little more room for error, but what a win that would be.
Mitchell, alley-oop pass. What a play out of the timeout, and Missouri now up by a dozen. Danger zone for Georgia, Mark.
Out of the timeout. Great call by the Missouri staff.
Another turnover. Again, it's Montgomery, and again it leads to an easy deuce on the other end for Robinson. This is what it looked like in the second half the other night against A&M.
Only made 4 field goals. They didn't make their first field goal until there was 7+ to go in the game. Now, they started out the second half here today shooting the ball much better, but it's the same old problem, the turnovers. Mizzou now with 15 points off turnovers.
And then Blue Cane just forced that shot up there right on Jacob Cruz. That's a tough shot to get on Cruz, who goes 6'8".
Mike, don't you think that if you play Mizzou, you must match the depth that Dennis Gates has? I mean, he can roll bodies at you now.
But how many teams can do that?
No, not a lot.
I mean, that's the problem, is that what they did, and you notice we haven't said the word freshman all game long. They have a good freshman class. They barely play.
Right.
Because the combination of the guys coming back, Grill getting healthy, and the portal has been the difference in taking an 0-19 team to a team that's flirting with their 8th conference win of the year. A 10-0 Missouri run. Georgia's got to find a way to snap it. That will not work. An Anthony Robinson triple.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Robinson in double figures now for the 11th time this year.
The crowd has been silenced here at Stegman. Georgia's going to have to reach deep and find something to get this thing going again. 11 points in the half for Anthony Robinson. That will be a jump ball, almost another turnover. Georgia will have it on the arrow.
How good has Missouri been in the first 10 minutes of the second half? Mike, they've already scored 33 points.
33 points, and the defense has just taken Georgia out of everything. And I don't know, unless Asa Newell has got another dozen to 20 points in them, where does it come from? Where does the offense come from if you're Georgia right now?
Well, they've had trouble shooting the 3 ball all season.
That's a good look for Blue Cane, but it's off the mark. Missouri trying to tack on to a 13-0 run. Mitchell lost it, got it back.
That's a 50-50 ball Georgia has to win.
Cruz going to work on the freshman Newell. Cruz determined to shoot it. He does and hits it. A little fade and fire by Jacob Cruz.
Tremendous offensive confidence does Cruz have in his own game.
Georgia had a 3-point halftime lead. It's now a 19-point advantage for Mizzou. Another open look for Kane. This time he books it.
Much better offense, moving the ball from one side of the floor to the other, playing on the second side, third side. Mizzou just does not allow you to do a lot of that.
First Georgia points in 4.5 minutes time. Here's the guy who's had the hot hand for Missouri, and he continues to have it, Anthony Robinson.
Missouri just has so many guys that can beat you in the one-on-one world.
Pick your poison. Kane, stop and pop, got it. But you got to get some stops, can't trade baskets here.
Right. But whether you're talking about Robinson or Mitchell or Perkins, these are guys that can all score one-on-one, which makes them a really difficult scout.
Perkins on Newell. Look at that. I mean, Perkins is giving up a whole lot of size, roughly 7 inches, and still got it to go against Newell. Now, this might be a time to reiterate something we've been talking about to the nation for about a month now. This just in, Missouri's really good.
Yeah.
They're ranked 21. I don't know if there's 20 teams in college basketball better than Mizzou. I really don't. I go back to the point, where's the weakness, Mark Wise? What don't they do well?
They're not a legit
Give them
down there
nothing,
low,
but take from them everything.
Mike White talked to us about playing Missouri, how unique they are in terms of what they do offensively and the way they attack you defensively.
Newell on the attack, can't get the mid-range. And Missouri just continues to put the pressure on. A rare miss that time. Tony Perkins off the iron, and Georgia will head the other way in a break zone here at Stegman. Newell tried to drop the hammer, instead hits the back rim. Numbers for Mizzou. Alley-oop to Caleb Grill, and Grill can't finish.
Yeah, rec league game has broke out.
Kane, reach-in foul on Missouri. It'll be Georgia ball when we come back. 7:16 to go. Missouri up big.
Anthony Robinson from Missouri has been spectacular, especially here in the second half. He leads the team in scoring this afternoon with 15. He's 1 of 4 in double figure. But if you're looking for a guy that impacts the game in more ways than scoring, here's your guy. He also has 5 rebounds and 7 assists on the day. That's getting it done for the visitors, and one of the reasons why Missouri enjoys this big lead in the second half.
Pure domination over the last 7 minutes, outscoring Georgia 22-7. Most of the damage coming in the paint. Missouri's made 9 of 11. I'm going to give you one other stat that defines Missouri and tells you why people like you and I are so high on this team. They are on pace to be the first power conference team in 30 years to average 8 threes a game and 20 free throws a game. And sure enough, they've already hit 8 threes. They're 11 of 12 from the free throw line. That is really rare, but Missouri has that combination, and they've displayed it all year long. Alley-oop pass, Newell.
He catches more bad passes.
Everything.
And he catches anything around him.
Be a great
hands.
catcher.
Yes.
Or wide receiver. See if the Georgia defense can be ratcheted up. Not on that possession. Just an easy path to the basket right down the runway for Mitchell.
defensive breakdown for the Dogs. They haven't had many on Mitchell today, but that was one.
And a miss on the other end from Abson. Mitchell feeling it. Drive and kick to Grill. And Missouri will exhibit some patience here, up by 18 points on the road. Mitchell already hit one. Not that time. 6 and change if Georgia's going to try and wipe away an 18-point deficit.
Double off the pick and roll. That middleman has been open the entire game. Georgia just needs to make more threes. They're one of the, in league play, Georgia only makes 5.8. That's 15th in the league. As a matter of fact, Mike, there are 4 teams in league play that shoot less than 30% from the arc. None of those 4 have a winning record in league play.
So what you're telling me is shooting is important.
Shooting is important. Coaches will tell you, what do you have to do to win? Defend and rebound. We got to defend and rebound. No, you don't. Stop. Stop trying to tell us that. You got to score. You got to make shots.
Just look at Alabama's path to the Final Four last year. They were not one of those leading Ken Palm defensive teams, but man, they could score on anybody, and they did score all the way to the Final Four.
And before my phone gets blown up,
and it will.
Yes, you do have to have a defensive presence. But I would argue that it's more important that you have a defense on a certain guy or on certain action, or that your scouting report is solid defensively. But in terms of being a lockdown defensive club, I think there's only maybe one in the league. That's probably Texas A&M because of the way they play.
Oh, that's how the second half has gone. Grill fired up an air ball. The hardest play to rebound in basketball is the air ball. It wound up back to Missouri. Now, a foul was called, but the question is, did that happen before or after the shot clock expired? Time for a review.
Call on the floor is a foul on 14 White prior to the shot clock. That play is under review by rule.
Take another look. Shot clock above.
Yeah.
I think it happened, but I'm not sure it was a foul.
Well, that part is not reviewable, as we know. So from that indication, Trent Pierce is going to go to the free throw line and shoot 2.
I mean, when you take a look at the numbers, Georgia on the afternoon, Mike, I mean, they're solid. They're 54% from the field. They've only gone to the line 8 times, but it's those turnovers, and they've been the pick-6 variety. 8 turnovers, but Mizzou has 15.
The foul does occur before the shot clock expiring. 2 shots for Black 11.
But 15 Missouri points off those miscues. The 8 is a great number.
Right.
But the pick-6s you just can't live with.
It's got to be the most frustrating thing in the world for Mike White, because he knows the importance of not turning it over. He coaches that.
Right.
But unfortunately, sometimes you're at the mercy of what happens in stressful situations for your players. And if you don't get clean point guard play, it's really tough to win in this league. On Monday, SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the Mississippi State basketball squad. You'll get a real behind-the-scenes look, 7 Eastern time, right here on the SEC Network. Of course, Chris Jans trying to make it 3 for 3. 3 years as the head coach in Stark Vegas, and potentially 3 NCAA tournaments. That has not been done in quite some time in Starkville.
Those 2 teams, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, who play in just a little bit today, kind of trending in opposite directions. State has lost 3 of their last 4. Ole Miss picked up 2 road wins a week ago, or in the last week, by a total of 6 points.
Well, Coach Beard's squad peaking perhaps at the right time as Newell pulls the trigger. And Bates had it. Grill cleans it up. Missouri can bleed a little more clock here as we're under 5 minutes to go. Missouri trying to improve to 19-6 overall, 8-4 in SEC play. We're getting to that time of the year, Mark. We start thinking about who gets the bye and the double bye in the SEC tournament in Nashville. Missouri's going to be in the conversation there.
I'd like to make a point about that. I don't think the double bye this year will be as important to winning that tournament as it will be. You don't have to play 4 games in 4 days with the physicality of this league this particular year. I think that's the importance this year of the double bye, maybe more than it's ever been in this conference.
I'm with you. Pierce has it rejected by Abson. Late clock situation for Perkins, 4:20 on the game clock. Bates again, right down the runway with no resistance, a straight line drive. Georgia needs buckets, and they need them in bunches. Demery can't get it. And look what I found, offensive rebound for Abson.
Georgia has had their share of offensive rebounds today. That surprised me a little bit.
But again, the problem has been on this end of the floor in the second half. Missouri scoring at an alarming level. Perkins, tough shot. Almost an offensive rebound. It will be Georgia ball when we come back. The final 3.5 minutes from Stegman. Ready for the All-State Good Hands play of the day.
Tamar Bates is so explosive at the rim. Get on your trampoline, young fella. 13 points today, 5 of 7, 3 of 4 from deep. A very efficient offensive performance. Not only by Bates, but the entire Missouri team in the second half, 64% shooting.
64% shooting, and oh, by the way, the entire game, Missouri has turned it over 3 times. Not once in the second half. That would tie their season low. They only had 3 against Tennessee. So they force turnovers, and they rarely turn it over. Good combination for Dennis Gates' Missouri squad. They haven't had a turnover since 3:38 left of the first half. It's not as if Georgia's not trying to turn them over. Missouri's just got good ball handlers. They play very smart basketball.
Mike Morgan, your rec team couldn't even do that.
I'd probably have 3 by myself in the first half.
I just am so impressed with Newell's basketball IQ about when to be at the right place at the right time. And you talk to anybody in this Georgia program about Newell, they just glow about him.
Well, they love playing with him. And there he is again. Offensive rebound. Had it stripped, though. He was open down low on Tamar Bates. Nobody saw him. But he's been playing his tail off. He's been battling with a number of different Missouri Tigers. Obviously, Asa Newell at the top of everybody's scouting report, and here he is still putting in max effort. Down low, Pierce. Rejected by who else? Newell. Shot clock at 2. Grill with a quick catch and fire. He barely even loaded that. That was a flick of the wrist 3 ball, and that is a dagger.
How did he get enough strength
I have no idea
to shoot that shot?
It was all wrist, no legs, no triceps. You and I watched Caleb Grill warming up before the Oklahoma game. He was shooting 3 balls left-handed and hitting them. Watch this.
Yeah, take another look at how quick this is. Watch where he catches this ball and where he releases it. Both above his head. And guess what, Mike? Grill with the magical 15 points.
Which means they don't lose. And they're certainly in good shape to not losing today as some of the crowd files out. Can't say enough about this Georgia faithful. They knew the importance and the magnitude of this game. If they go on to lose, puts a little more pressure on them late in the year. Probably going to have to steal one on the road and continue to take care of business at home.
Yeah, they have their bye next, so they only have 5 games left. 3 of those 5 will be away from Athens.
21 points, 9 rebounds now for Newell. He has certainly done his part, but he needs some help.
Mike, I just cannot help but think when we come back here on March 8th, that game will be meaningful.
Huge.
For both teams.
I think it could very well fall into the must-win category for Georgia. And who knows what it'll mean for Vanderbilt, because you and I have been talking about Vanderbilt's schedule. They're in a brutal stretch. Offensive rebound. Bates on the second. And that time, a nice box out by Montgomery.
But I love how your top scorers play so unselfishly, the way Missouri does.
No doubt. We had the basket by Montgomery, and then we have a foul on Georgia. That is only the 5th team foul on Georgia, so they've got 2 more before Missouri gets in the bonus. It's the 3rd foul on Blue Kane. Oh no, Perkins goes deep.
Watch out!
And slams it on Newell. Wow, elevation by Tony Perkins on the 6'11 Newell, who was creeping.
My goodness. Take another look. Tony Perkins on the fly pattern. Caleb Grill, the quarterback. And it looks like Newell is going to measure this. But Perkins just flushes with the one hand. That's big time.
I was thinking the same thing you were. Like, Newell is just measuring, timing it, and ready to swat it. Tony Perkins had other ideas. Bates and Grill will give way to Cruz and Warwick.
They combine for ho-hum 28.
Yeah.
Robinson adds in 15, Mitchell with 14. It's typical Missouri scoring.
No, it's down to 15 with 1:06 to go, and Georgia in need of a miracle.
Marshall's in the game. He's been in the game twice now.
Yes, he officially he has. Yes. That's how this game got started. Great ball movement, great patience. Unselfish play by Mitchell.
Fun to watch. This Mizzou team is fun to watch.
And they're playing like a well-oiled machine of late. Georgia the other way. Got Kane streaking instead. The layup is missed. Newell gets it, and Newell stuffs it.
Yeah, he didn't miss that one, did he?
23 points for Asa Newell. 23 and 10, so another double-double. He leads all freshmen in the SEC in that category. The final 18 seconds will tick away, and Missouri is going to improve to 8-4 in the SEC. A 49-point second half. Mark Wise, some final thoughts on what we saw today by the 21st team in the land, the Missouri Tigers.
The word that comes to mind about Missouri is balance. Balance scoring, balance offense, defense. They're going to be a tough out in March.
No doubt about it. Missouri impressive today, 87-74, your final score. For Mark Wise and our entire SEC Network crew, Mike Morgan saying so long. Let's have the gang in studio chop it up.
Chop it up, indeed we will. Damian Fishback, Ron Slay, Peter Burns, 13 points. Margin of victory for the Missouri Tigers. They get closer and closer to a 20-win season. And what a turnaround from last year. Winless in conference play, and now their 8th victory of the season. Closing in, they're a 6th seed according to Joe Lunardi. It's only going to get better for Georgia. A lot of work to do. Fish, ultimately, tale of two halves. Georgia was up 3. What changed in the second?
Do we need to tell the AP voters to take a look at the Missouri Tigers a little bit more?
A little disrespect, you think, huh?
They lose 2 games in a row to 2 seeds. 1 2-possession game, Tennessee the A&M Aggies and they dropped 6 spots.
Yeah.
There are other losses. Yeah, Memphis early in the season where they're up at half. You go in and you knock off Florida, a neutral site, 1-possession game, I think, against Illinois. You did lose on the road to Texas, another team that's quote-unquote in the tournament. It's just ridiculous to me. But Missouri continues to prove, not only the voters, but everyone else, that they're on a mission this year. They're deep. They're talented, they're well coached, and they showed us once again today.
I think that's why you look at Tamar Bates and those guys, when they come talk, they always do this. Because they like, don't even worry about it. We're going to handle everything we're supposed to. Yeah, they had some slip-ups, but 19 points off of turnovers, and fast break points, that's the difference. You was talking about the pace, getting the speed up, they sped that game up, and it all went in their favor.
All season long, we've talked about that segment's a tough place to play, but look at just the way defensively they were able to get around and just is this a one situation?
Well,
like one bit more?
This is when I knew that the game was turning. These were 2 plays in a row to where the defense went to offense, but it was a 3 to 5 seconds to where Missouri scored. You saw the previous play. Here it is. They're turning it up again, and then watch. Boom. 3, 2, 1, and bam, Caleb Grill is already down there with the basket. That's what I meant with the pace of play. Georgia couldn't take their game up to that pace. Missouri got it into the pace that they wanted, and that's the difference in the game.
And also, when you look at Missouri, you got to understand their depth. You got 8, 9 people playing in double-figure minutes, dog. That wears on you at some point. If you don't have the artillery to go to that war, I think you ought to sit this one out.
Grill for 15. Robinson ended up having 15. Mark Mitchell ends up having 14. But the man who had 13 right there, part of a team effort, Tamar Bates. Tamar, this was a very impressive turnaround in the second half. What sparked it?
Just us sticking to our mentality, our disposition as a team, not just being TPD, tough, physical, disruptive. We was able to get some stops, you know. I got you back.
I love it. So, hey, Tamar. So this team continues to have a chip on their shoulder. You can tell that you are connected, you're unified. What do you think keeps this team motivated?
He asked me a question.
He's trying to ask you a question. So, Tamar, what do you think keeps this team motivated to prove everybody wrong?
I don't really think it's a thing of us trying to prove anybody wrong at this point. We're just proving ourselves right. We know who we are. We know what we got in that locker room. So at the end of the day, we're going to keep playing ball.
All right, Tamar, now pull back the curtain just a little bit for me. When you guys maul each other after the game in the post-presser like this, what is the finger over the mouth, the shh? What does that signify?
That we're not going to do no talking. Like I just said, we know what we have in that locker room. We know nobody really betted us to be any good or respond from last year. So, we just going to keep hooping and we're going to keep proving ourselves right. It don't got nothing to do with nobody outside our locker room. It's all about us.
Tamar, I love how you're not making it about you. Go and give some love to your teammates right there at the end for me.
Yes, sir. Hey, they said give y'all boys some love. Hey, let me get that card. Hey, family on 3, that card 6. 1, 2, 3. Family, 4, 5, 6.
There we go. I was about to say, they can't want to talk and then not talk. Now give us some.
Unstoppable. Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
A legit drop the mic moment. We've seen that from Caleb Grill. We've seen that from Mark Mitchell. We see that from Tamar Bates. I don't know if there's a more connected team right now in college basketball than the one that Dennis Gates put together right here in Fish. This is coming off the heels of a season where they didn't win one single SEC game.
Yeah, and sometimes a season like that will make you. You think about a guy like Tamar Bates. He went through everybody talking about how they didn't win an SEC game and didn't win in the SEC tournament last year. That's why this is a team that I think continues to play with an edge. And Tamar Bates, I think, signifies and exemplifies everything about the Tigers. Yeah, that does too. Tony Perkins does too. But my point is, they got an edge right now where other people are tapering off Slay. They're getting even better.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to meet a coach like Dennis Gates up close and personal.
Yeah.
But this team is a reflection of him. What they went through, him being stoic, standing there, not making excuses. He didn't talk about Caleb Greer being hurt. He didn't talk about guys thinking about going in the portal.
John
he didn't talk about any of that. Yeah, none of that.
On the show.
He went and said, you know what? We'll be back next year.
Yeah.
They gave him an opportunity, went to the portal, he went and got his guys, got guys healthy, didn't say a word, and they walked out. And this is a reflection of Coach Gates.
And shout out to Missouri Tiger fans for sticking with Coach Dennis Gates and their team.
Absolutely.
Zero doubt. I mean, we go back and look at Lamont Paris and the issues that he ended up having 2 years ago, and all of a sudden with Kyler Murray Bulls, they put everything together. But what Dennis Gates has in Como, and that is as good of a home court advantage as we see right now when they go there. And now you can showcase that they could do it on the road. Good win for Missouri. Top 2 matchup over there in T-Town between Alabama and Auburn. And how about the nice sports coat here?
Yeah,
you enjoying that one?
It's clean. Like that jacket, Nato.
Janai Broom.
That jumper, too.
Big game Broom, you ought to call him right there.
Oh, I like that one. You know what? When he plays like this, Auburn is so challenging to beat, and it was the type of start that Auburn needed on the road in a hostile environment, Slay.
Fish, when you walk a man down like this, you know what you're telling them?
What you telling them?
I got my luggage with me, and I'm inside of my bag.
Ooh.
I'm working the way I want to work. That's what Florida was able to do and keep a body on them. He looked at that and said, one-on-one, you can't stop me. Mark Sears speeding up the pressure, though. Pace.
Well, and that's what they're going to have to do more of in the second half. For Mark Sears, his ability to penetrate like that, him along with Mo Diablo.